That said, I think I was wise not to commit into too much Phoenix here. I didn't drop any additional Phoenixes. I did drop the levels there because they were doing pretty well. And I gave them an item, but all of that, literally all of that, is recoverable without any losses. So I do have level 2 fortresses. The reason why is because otherwise I feel like these marksmen would just kill the fortresses and be done with it. There is something new to tank in front. And this fortress, it's pushing almost 180,000 health. That is quite a lot. One Phoenix goes down there. Yeah, if Phoenixes have a decent amount of levels and the opponent doesn't have insane amounts of fortresses, it actually becomes viable to play Phoenixes against fortresses. Especially if they get elite at range and start outranging the fortresses. As you can see, there wasn't a whole lot of damage. Now this fortress falls, same on the other side, but they did stand tall for quite a while. And now my arc lights are starting to hit some juicy targets. Tower degradation is coming in. I have some chaff left here. These Phoenixes are doomed, but they are going to do a lot of damage. Actually, they survived the level 1 arc light for a long time. Alright, that was a good round for me. And now basically the signal has come to sell out of these Phoenixes. Because as much as it is a risk for me to commit into Phoenixes, it is also a risk for my opponent to commit his key unit, I want to say, or one of his key units, the fortress, to commit that into anti-air, when I can just plain sell out of all the anti-air. I decide to put a level on these Phoenixes. They take 11 missile hits to be destroyed. That is a lot. These Phoenixes take only 4. I sell the Wasps in the first place. These Phoenixes were still... well, no, they were not doing anything. What am I saying? I probably should have kept the Wasps. I drop additional fortresses. My opponent is apparently trying to go somewhere with the Typhoons. I guess that's just extra chaff here. That was the unit drop that we both picked up here. And since I can also use some extra chaff clear, I thought, you know, just take it. See where it goes. He has a fortress with an amp core that fortunately didn't level last round. And a level 2 fortress here that now also has barrier, but that was an expensive barrier. A lot more expensive than what I had. And you can see the carry fort is going. It is going off here. He also drops a melting point. Yeah, that makes sense. I think he's kind of giving up on this side. I don't think he expects to win this fight. He wants to win this side, where the Phoenixes are. At least I think I'm going to win this side. He also committed into leveling these Stormcrawlers, and I haven't done anything against them. But just 2 anti-missile devices is good in shutting them down. Alright, Arclights can clear the chaff. And finally the fortresses start hitting something good. Meanwhile on this side there is nothing but Arclights left, and a Melter moving in. That Melter has leveled, the fortress has not leveled. But the marksmen keep leveling. That is the scary part. He even wins this side. I thought I was gonna win that, but nope. Pretty good win for my opponent. For the moment he has the more solid army. And I am definitely in kill range here. Orbital Javelin drops. Assault Scorpion, possibly also a choice. But I've already committed into fortresses and so has my opponent. He goes for redeployment. I go for the Orbital Javelin. There's a bunch of really cool clumps of units that I can splash. I was thinking about what to do, but honestly, that melting point, as you can see, it's already level 2. I think repositioning, that is a mistake. He should have repositioned something here. I just decide to drop the Orbital Javelin here. It's not going to drop the destroy the fortress. I should be splashing the marksman back here. Honestly, when you have this sort of setup, it's risky to clump up another melting point. But all things considered, I'm now going into something that will hopefully change the tide of the battle. I have Rocket Punch. My opponent does not have that tech. He instead has range on the fortresses. I guess it's similar, but honestly, I think I just like the Rocket Punch more. The Rocket Punch has a range advantage in that it has a range of up to 180 meters, and I've seen situations where it just goes and splashes a tower, and that is really amazing. I go for Charge Shot on my Arc Lights. They are starting to hit some decent levels. I have the fortresses to deal with my opponent's fortresses, and I decide to redirect these Phoenixes over there. Hopefully they will dodge the anti-air missiles. I sold the other pack of Phoenixes. They still have an M-Core. Unfortunately, they are not shooting at anything. I didn't redirect them close enough. Melting Point did take care of the shield. Fists are starting to fly. I heard one flying. Yeah, that must have been this fortress here. Boom, boom. I love these fortresses. And as you can see, now that is a scary situation. Yeah, as you can see, the fists are simply hitting the towers. And that means for this round at least, I completely wipe out my opponent. And there's a lot of leveled units that he's not getting. So that means I definitely got an experience advantage in terms of unit experience here. In the end, the Javelin didn't do all that much. I think that was a mistake getting that. Or I should have targeted something else. Taking out one of these marksmen would have been definitely better, I think, than targeting here. The M-Core Fortress that can just shrug it off. I do decide to drop some Wasps. I'm honestly surprised at that. Maybe I chose it without thinking too much. My opponent does the same thing. This may very well be the final round. Both of us are definitely in striking range of the other player killing each other. Phoenixes, I think I put them a little further forward now. My opponent has chosen to go into range Electromag Barrage Melters. This is exactly what I'm talking about. He now has some Phoenixes here that take 13, maybe more attacks to kill. I do defend against the Wasps. Yeah, I remember that. That was the game where I didn't forget the Wasp Swarm and decided to put some missiles pretty close to the edge here, so that they hopefully splash everything. Do I decide to go more? Yeah, I decide to put the Elite on the Arc Lights and drop another Fortress in the middle. Electromag Barrage is probably going to be the key factor. If it can get value and shut off the Fortress Fists, it's probably going to be a win for my opponent. If it cannot, it's probably going to be a win for me. I decide to drop some oil in case he wants to put some fire on these Stormcrawlers. I still didn't drop any anti-missile devices. All but 3 Wasps get destroyed, and those 3 Wasps are further behind, so they go chase after these crawlers, and soon they will be hitting some Arc Lights, but these Arc Lights have almost 20,000 HP. They are not going to go down quickly, so my tower has been saved. In the middle, these Fangs should have been enough to defend against the Wasps. For the moment at least, the splash, the EMP misses on the Melters, well, they get some value, but not insane amounts yet. Fists are coming in. This fortress has been EMP'd sufficiently. But one of the fists gets through and goes for the tower, and that means the Arc Lights can clean up everything along with the fortresses. Is that game? Looks like game, yeah. I wonder if that oil was good or not. Because it did slow down my own units. But that is case in point why I love the Fortress Fist. It has the potential, more so than range on the fortress, to just go in there and do damage. It goes in there and just splashes a tower. It has insane range. If the front line has been annihilated, and carry Arc Lights are pretty good at bruising a front line, they need something to stand in front of them and give them time to kill everything. But in theory, carry Arc Lights can kill everything. So they just are very good at annihilating whatever my opponent has at the front line. And then if just one fortress punch with 25 meters of splash, which is a lot, that's more than a Scorpion. I think Scorpions have 15 meters splash. So this is, 2/3 more than a Scorpion in splash range. If that just hits a tower, it's often just game. And they can do, with level 2, 30,000 damage, so even a level 2 tower will not last. That's why I love the Fortress Missile. In theory, my opponent counters it with the Melters, but in practice, one got through, and that is all that it took to finish this. And I got a lot of MMR from this one. That was, remember, that was a player 295 MMR above me. I'm very happy I managed to win this, and I hope to win a lot more like this. But for the moment, it's usually the 1300s that are taking all my MMR. I'm kind of redistributing MMR from the 1800s to the 1300s here. I'm just the middleman. Sometimes that's what it feels like. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening. And until next time, everybody. Oh, and one thing I noticed after looking at this for a while, I wanted to check how much damage these Phoenixes did, and I am surprised to see that they actually did the most damage of the entire game combined, that is, of all rounds combined, from my unit's point of perspective, and they have no techs. And for the opponent, these Stormcrawlers that also have no techs, that are level 3, did the most damage. The numbers are almost equivalent. The Stormcrawlers did a bit more damage than those Phoenixes, and the Phoenixes had an item, so I guess in the end these Stormcrawlers were more value. But at the same time, isn't that amazing? Both of us have these units that can do insane damage. Just look at what damage Melters can put out. Well, this is not a good example. This is not a good example. Look at this Melter. Top damage in my opponent's team last round. For me, that was this Arclight, but that Arclight didn't even do half of that Melter's damage. And then the top damage on both sides goes to a unit that has existed from the start. In theory, is completely countered because, well, I drop one anti-missile device here, and that Stormcaller is not going to get anything done anymore. And the anti-air missiles from the fortress, in theory, completely counter the Phoenixes. But at the same time, those zero tech units are doing the most damage of the entire game. That is crazy. I think I've noticed this before as well, as the fire apparently disappears. Phoenixes, once they start hitting decent levels, and especially if they get shields, suddenly the fortresses don't counter them as much. And this game is kind of case in point of that. So yeah, just noticed that and wanted to show it off because, well, we won't be having this replay for much. Currently, it is the 25th, which means that in 2 days, I think it's patch day. And I'm going to be really interested to see what the Sandworm does. By the time this video is out, we will probably be playing with that already, assuming there's no delays on the side of the devs. So yeah, until then, have a good day.